Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do my most boring palettes. I am wearing the same look that I have in a couple of other videos. I promise this is the last video with this look and then I will switch it up, but I try when I do like a full face. I try and do a couple of videos because I don't do a full face all the time. So anyways, we're going to do my most boring palettes, but I love them. These are palettes I keep, I use, I love them, but at first glance it's like, why do you even like that? This might be a little bit longer. I will swatch shades in some. I won't, obviously we're not going to swatch every shade in every palette, but I'll swatch a few from each. So this may be a little bit longer, but I've seen other people do similar videos, so I thought this would be fun. Because again, if you were to go through my collection, because I do like doing bold eyes like this, so some of these palettes I think probably surprise people that I do have them, I do use them, I do like them. So yeah, if that sounds interesting, definitely stick around. Make sure you are subscribed. My Instagram is down below. Make sure you follow me over there. I do have sneak peeks for upcoming Halloween looks. I'm going to try and film a candy corn look today. That may go up before this video. I don't know. We'll see. I've been pre-filming a lot, so I don't know. Anyways, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. I have a bunch of fun content coming up. And yeah, let's jump into the list. I have piles here. Let's start with Too Faced because I have two, and then there's some, and we'll try and I'm trying to have some cohesiveness, a little structure here. Okay, so let's start off. I did do a giveaway with this palette. Obviously not this one. I had a new one that I gave away, but this is the original chocolate bar. It looks like this. It's brown. There's not much else to say. It is a really nice palette. Mike bought me this. I don't know what's going on with my Cherry Cordial shade. Like it's starting to look a little pitted. It still works. I'll swatch it. I really like that shade. Something with the formula of that shadow. But it's really pretty. It's got a little bit of a red undertone. Another shade that I like is Champagne Truffle. It's a really pretty, you can even use it as a face highlighter. It's a really nice neutral palette. I have traveled with this one quite a bit. I do use it a lot. There are some little bit of dips in there, but again, Mike bought this for me like 3 years ago. It still smells like chocolate. It still works perfectly fine. I use palettes until they like hard pan, so you can judge me if you want, but yeah, it doesn't look like anything exciting, but it's a nice everyday neutral palette. This is perfect for somebody that doesn't wear a ton of makeup or doesn't like bold makeup. It's just really easy. The blendability is good. User-friendly is good. Beginner-friendly. It's just a good palette, and it's a good staple palette. It's a classic. I like it. Another one, and this was a little controversial. People either liked this palette or they flat out hated it. I have a little bit of an emotional attachment to this. This was our very first Valentine's Day, Mike and I. This is what he bought me. He got me the mini chocolate chip. He asked me what, my favorite stuff was. I told him I liked makeup. He wanted to know what my favorite brand was. So he went on Too Faced website and he bought me the mini chocolate chip. Now I tried to go in and wet 2 of them, so I messed them up a little bit, but I really don't use this anymore because all of the shades that are in the mini are in the full size. Plus they added some more. So I no longer use this because I have the colors in the big one. So I just keep it for sentimental purposes, but that is why I probably like the white chocolate bar. I have some emotional attachment to it. And I've done, I copied, it was from That Girl Shays, but she does a really, and it was like, again, like 3 years ago. Using the mint shade and cake batter and a little bit of sea salt. And then using this shade, what is that, Pearl Candy. It's a really pretty like holiday Christmassy look, and so I do like it for that. And it's a really pretty like fairy-esque, what is this, Sugared Raisin is pretty. It's got a little bit of a lavender undertone right there, and then Frosted Apricot's a really pretty like white, very blindy, but Again, I have an emotional attachment because of the mini chip, but I do really like it. Again, nothing super exciting. People either liked this or they flat out hated it, but I think it's a pretty like spring palette. Like this apricot, frosted apricot's a pretty shade too. So I have it. I'm gonna keep it until it's not good anymore. Let's wipe off some of these so I can reuse my hand. I talked about these in palettes that I'm mad that I bought, but like this is a bulky one. But again, nothing exciting, just a basic neutral palette, but it's so pretty, so easy to use. The shimmers are gorgeous. I love Silk Teddy. It's one of my favorite like shades. It's just a pretty, again, pretty shimmer. Too Faced can do a really good shimmer when they want to. Nothing exciting. It's just bulky is the only complaint that I really have. And then I have the Natural Nudes. Yep, that's what it's called. From the Born This Way collection. I bought this hoping it would replace that because that's a chunky beast, but I still like that one. I ended up keeping it, and I like this one too. Again, it's a nude palette. It's pretty though. I really like the matte. The formula in here is good. The only complaint I have is that these two shades, Rose Gold and Sparkling Rum, look very similar on the eyes when you use a brush. So I wish this shade was just a little bit deeper. But other than that, it's a good palette. It's just a basic everyday, like office make. I don't want to offend anybody, but just natural makeup. Okay. Let's do the ABH palettes and then we'll get into these two. So let's rearrange here a little bit. I'm going to start off with Modern Renaissance. It's a classic, but it's not necessarily a revolutionary color scheme anymore. I think it was during its heyday, but for me, I mean, it's a natural palette with some pops of color, but it's good. This is one I was thinking about decluttering. I ended up keeping it, so she's still here, but it's not, I don't think it's anything exciting. Another kind of boring palette is the Carli Bybel. I really liked this palette. Some people did not. Again, it doesn't look very exciting, but you can get some really pretty soft looks and you can amp it up a little bit because there is like Steve and Bowie, I think is how you pronounce that, but like Mandala is a gorgeous shade. So is Jody. Like there's some really pretty shimmers in this. I don't know. It's a very like softer color scheme, but it's pretty. Like I like it. I asked my mother-in-law for this for Christmas and she bought it for me. So I'm happy I have it. I understand maybe why some people didn't like it, but I heard some people say that some of the shadows don't perform. My palette works just fine. I haven't had issues with any of the colors and I've used almost all of them. So I don't know. Another boring one I did purchase Subculture recently. I got this off of Poshmark. Fudge came a little bit smashed. I repressed it, so it looks a little wonky. I need to clean up. I need to clean up the palette because there's it's got brown eyeshadow on me. There's fudge kind of all over, but it's a grungy color scheme, so I can understand this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but Electric, like there's just some cool shades. And I have the Prism palette too, and Prism's another one where I understand people's gripe about it. Cube is pretty. Like there's just some really cool different shades going on in here. I do desperately need to clean the inside of this because yeah, that fudge shade just got all over, but I have it. I like a good, you can see I got brown all over me now. I have to go in. Definitely have to remember to do that because it's always the dark shades that shatter. I don't understand. But another color scheme, I have the Venus too. Very, very similar color story to Subculture. Very grungy. To me, this isn't anything like exciting, but I like these kind of grungy tones. And then along that same color story is the Nomad from Juvia's Place. Very washed out, grungy. I used this once. The pigmentation, I will say, on some of these mattes is a little finicky, but I'm going to try it with concealer instead of just primer when I use it the next time. I was hoping that this was going to replace one of the Jaclyn Hill Vault palettes, the orange one, because I really, really liked that palette for fall, even though the formula in that palette sucked. So I was hoping that this would replace it, fill kind of the void, because I got rid of those palettes. So hopefully having these like grungy toned ones will kind of make up for not having those. Another one, I got this from Wicked Sisters, and I don't mean any disrespect towards the brand. This is the Dearly Departed. This is the Beetlejuice. I mean, it's not anything like to yell home about. To me, it's very neutral for a Beetlejuice palette, but their formula is really good. The only gripe I have is there are 3 pressed glitters in here, so I'm probably not going to use them a lot. But the shimmers are good, the mattes are good. It's just, look at first glance like it's not a super exciting color story, but the quality is good. You can get some really pretty like grungy looks out of this. So I do quite enjoy it. Another one that I thought was boring when I looked at it was the Alien palette. And this is one of my all-time favorite palettes. I have people ask me what my favorite palettes are. I am planning on doing like my top 10 favorite palettes in my collection. It may be a little more than 10, but my ultimate favorites. So this will definitely be in that list. But looking at it, and the pictures did not do it justice, because this looked like a very beige palette with like a purple and a green. And then I kept seeing people do these like really cool looks, and I'm like, how are they getting that out of this palette? And then I ended up buying it. I got it on Poshmark. I paid a little more than full price, but it wasn't like astronomical. This has been discontinued. You can still get it on Poshmark and eBay. I love it. This is, again, one of my favorite palettes, and it's very neutral. There are some beige tones in here, but like Probe is probably one of my favorite shades ever, and Interstellar. Probe is one of those like blue, it's got like a brown shift, and Interstellar is just pretty. I did a collab video with The Truth. He is here on YouTube, and I used this palette, and the look that I did in that video, I used this palette, and it's one of like my favorite looks that I've ever done in a video, and it's just gorgeous. So yeah, I love this palette. It has some of my favorite shadow names. We've got Black Hole, Probe, Moon Rock, X-Files, Flying Saucer, Abduction, Pluto, Interstellar. I don't know. I really like this palette a lot, even though it's not the most exciting color story you're ever going to see. Another boring one, and I didn't realize how old this palette was. I had a subscriber tell me that this is like an OG Urban Decay, and she was surprised that I still had it because it's old. My friend Lauren gave me this not that long ago. Mine still works, and she said she was kind of bummed that she got rid of hers. Mine still works, still performs. None of them are funky. There's no like smell, mold. None of them are hard panned, and I've used this in videos quite a bit, and it doesn't look like anything exciting, but I've gotten some really pretty smoky looks. I love Loaded. It's got a green shift, Evidence has blue. Obviously there's a little bit of a purple, but you can get some really, really pretty looks with this. You can still get this again on Poshmark. Order at your own risk because it is an old palette, but like I said, mine, I don't have any problems with it, so I'm gonna keep using it. I don't care. But just keep in mind that it is an old palette. Another boring little palette is from The Balm. This is the Smoke Balm with foil. Just a little 3-pan. If I do not have a brow bone highlight shade, I use this. I will be repurchasing this when that hits pan because I cannot live without that. As boring as that little 3, and I got this as an add-on item when I first signed up for the Tribe subscription a while ago. And I was like, I'm never going to use that. I thought I was going to declutter it. I use this all the time. Use it all the time. And it's a little boring 3-pan palette. Another old palette that I still have, this is the Kathleen Lights and Morphe collab. I love this palette. Mine, again, it's old. It still works. It's a very neutral palette, but she's got a lot of really great like brow bone shades. This is a good like transition color. There's a really pretty like camel-y mustard, a couple of pretty mauves. You got some greens. There's a good, the black in here is good. some pretty coppery shades, like just a lot of the gray is good. For being a neutral palette, it was well thought out and the formula is good. And I really like it. And I will, because it's older, I will keep it until it hard pans because I don't feel comfortable giving it to somebody and I still use it. So we have 3 from Tarte. I have the Sizzle, Rainforest Sizzle. Nothing exciting. My old Make Believe in Yourself palette. Nothing exciting. And then Love, Trust, and Fairy Dust. They're all pretty. I use these. I like them. This is a really nice mauve palette. I'm not ever going to get rid of these. They're a little bit annoying to store because they're round, but Tarte does have a good formula, even though they're kind of like boring color schemes. They're really user-friendly, really easy to blend, and you can get some really pretty looks out of them. So I keep them and I like them. And then lastly, I have my palettes from Lunatic Cosmetics. The Elvira one's probably a little better. I have a hard time with this color scheme on its own. I generally use this with other palettes, but I like it. Take My Heart is probably my favorite, even though like it looks super boring. I've gotten some really pretty looks with this. The most boring is probably my Supernatural palette because it's very, I used this one a lot when I bought it, but when I first bought it, I didn't have all of this. So I had less palettes, so I was using it more. I don't use it often anymore, but I still like it. Even though, I mean, you're not going to get a ton of versatility out of it, but I like their formula. Not everybody gets on with their formula. I do. I like it, but. And then I have, again, the Vampira palette, which you're like, what are you going to do with that? But I've gotten some, this is an all shimmer palette, so you need another palette with this, but the colors are really cool on the lid. So I have them and I keep them and I use them. And I'm not going to get rid of them. So that's all I have to say about that. So yeah, those are all of my, I'm sure I have more that if you looked at them, you're like, that's kind of a boring color scheme. But these are the ones that I like when I was thinking about this video that came to mind. So let me know what you guys thought. What did you think of my boring palettes that I love? Let me know if you have any that you love, if you liked ones that I recommended. I recommend all of these palettes wholeheartedly. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Hopefully this wasn't boring. Make sure you are subscribed before you leave, and yeah, hopefully I will see you all in another video very, very soon. Stay safe everybody. I'll see you later.